Sean.
If Les Miles beats everybody but Alabama, I say he stays.
Creel.
Fuck Jolly Ranchers and fuck Sour Apple.
Hankins. Jesus Christ. We're going to lose this game. We're going to lose a game from 2007. Somehow, we're going to blow this.
Throw the flag. Tell them throw the flag.
Damn, these are some good sun chips. I should buy these more often.
Florida?
Georgia?
Florida? Florida?
Not my daddy. My daddy coached the Dolphins.
I don't know if I really like sushi or if I really like soy sauce.
Ever heard of that Panther fan who growls in the YouTube videos?
Casey, then what about this?
Pants again, he don't give a damn. Uncle John's been acting strange. He ain't been right since Vietnam. Sweet home Alabama, play that dead man's song. Turn those speakers up full blast, play it all night long.
What episode is it?
60s.
60 something. 65. I'm going to say 65. I'm pretty sure it's 65. I had a joke all lined up about what would the cast of the Three Amigos be if you fed them beans right before filming. See, that's what it should be. Man, I was really struggling with the setup, but
What's the punchline?
Steve Fartin, Fartin Short, and Messy Chase.
That's pretty good.
Thanks. I appreciate it. It's episode 65. Throw the flag. We think it's going to be a short one today. We are...
It's not. It never is when we think this.
We are only going to do our 3 bring 'em backs in the Hoss of Hosses.
Can I put something out on the table?
Please.
Instead of bring 'em backs, can we call them Holla Bat Girls?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know.
We can call them Holla.
Do we have the rights to that music, Hankins? Can we play that?
Ooh, that's going to be a tough one.
Okay.
I
Even if we
definitely have
do.
the rights to some music for Bring 'em Backs.
Okay.
I 100% have clearance
song is Bring 'em
on the
Back?
perfect music for Bring 'em Backs. It's Court of the Crimson Tide by Satan's
Oh,
Youth
okay,
Ministers. Okay. There's a section in there that is tailor-made for this.
Gwen Stefani's worst song, I'm going to say.
No, no. There's 95 others to
she
choose
do
from. Anything other than that one, you really could.
Gwen Stefani's worst single.
Did she do Sweet Escape?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like that one.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one.
What is the Glamour Life, Fantasy Life? That's
It's My
terrible.
Life.
It's My Life. Well, that's a cover song.
That's the one. And she still released it as a single. You brought this argument up. You set the parameters, baby.
Both you and I know Creel got us into this. And let's just...
We can table it.
Tabled.
Also, some of those No Doubt songs were also terrible, except for the one where she gets voted out of the band. That is a classic. Spiderweb is terrible.
Spiderwebs is a bad song.
Yeah. Worse than Holla Back Girl. I'm here to stand by it.
I'm not a big marching band fan. Look, we're not tabling this. It's tabled. It's tabled. Well, we actually have news, college football news, in this...
And news. College football news.
In this
too.
desert of an off season. First off, Steve Spurrier's back, huh?
Yeah, he is going to be some sort of coach in some minor league football conference, semi-pro.
Do y'all know a lot about this
Zero.
league at
I do
all?
not.
Zero about it.
All right, I'll give you a
Please.
brief synopsis. So, the XFL, which was Vince McMahon and WWE's thing, was Dick Enberg and Vince McMahon, Dick Enberg from NBC Sports and Vince McMahon kind of working together to create this thing. It flopped. Obviously, we know that. They did the 30 for 30 on it, which was made by Dick Enberg's son.
And heavily featured Donald Trump.
With Vince and Dick. Of course, sure, why not? I think you're thinking about the USFL.
Yes, I am. Excuse me. Please proceed.
Because Trump ruined that thing.
Yes, he did.
Whole nother thing. So Enberg's kid makes this documentary about the XFL, and Vince and Dick both kind of wax poetic about it, and they're like, if we had another shot, we probably would do it differently, and we think we could do it good, and never say never. It's kind of how they left it. So Vince does announce. Vince McMahon draws out $100 million of his own personal money. He sells his stock in the WWE, gets his own money, and he's going to relaunch the XFL in 2020.
As the Alliance of American Football.
No, as the XFL
Okay.
in 2020. So not even maybe a month and a half, 2 months later, this announcement comes out for the AAC that or whatever it's called. What's it called again?
Alliance of American Football.
I did AAF. Is announced that this thing is happening. We're like, oh man, did Vince change the name? No, Dick Edinburgh's kid
Love it.
decided to make his own football league and jump Vince by a year.
I love it.
So that's what this is.
And Steve Spurrier is going to be the head coach of
The Orlando... I don't know. The Orlando team.
the Orlando Blooms.
The Orlando Blooms, huh? Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. I like that a lot.
Good, Krill. Yeah, me and the Blooms, we got a good quarterback system. We just got to get them in here, get fired up, get them ready to go, let them ready to play.
Every player has to be
was
British
was
or have
Spurrier-
played a character in a
Or
pirate.
be an elf, yeah.
Yeah.
Or a pirate. Did Spurrier coach in the USFL? I have some connection with him in the USFL, and I think he did. But this is dumb.
Oh,
right?
it's completely stupid. No one's going to watch it, just like no one watched any of the other games.
Yeah, he gave up on South Carolina his last year as head coach. Like,
He just straight up said, I don't have it anymore.
yeah,
and,
like game 4, he's like, I'm done. So the dude is old. I'm sure he's getting a paycheck or he's a part owner or some craziness. He's probably the biggest name the league will have. So I guess good for him to cash out, but
Is it embarrassing, or
don't
is it
know,
like,
man. I
he
feel
just
like-
wants to coach?
probably just it's embarrassing that he's selling himself out. He doesn't need to.
No, he doesn't. Steve Spurrier coached the Tampa Bay Bandits the entirety of the
Yes.
USFL's
Yes.
existence.
Yes. I don't know. I don't find a new league embarrassing. I mean, I get it. It's different. It's not the NFL, but I'll say this. I don't think that this thing will necessarily be a huge success.
No.
I truly don't. But as a person who's a very big fan of Major League Soccer, which is, a sub-level professional league, these things can get some footing.
Well,
I'm not here to pretend that the MLS is the Premier League.
the thing is, though,
But these things can get footing and roll. And if there was a time where the NFL was vulnerable to have someone eat into the market to the tune of 3%, 4%, and that be a financial success for that league, I think that time is probably now.
well, not to turn this political, but I think you're right, because you're going to have a lot of Trump folks who, have a crusade against people kneeling or
Pansies, put them in there. I don't care if they're concussed.
like
I'll cuss them.
or like new safety
There's
measures.
also that crowd, Krill.
or
You're
player,
right.
or they're talking about getting rid of kickoffs, stuff like that. So there's that possibility. But even with that, the market is so flooded. I mean, you have college, you have pro, which happen at the same time. I guess XFL and the AAF are going to happen in the spring,
I think so.
I assume.
And then that's on top of
Yes.
high school
Yes,
and
it
middle
will-
school and pee-wee football.
I mean, I don't know. You have the
I would imagine.
you have the Legends Football League,
From a
which is the
business standpoint.
lingerie football league.
Well, I don't even know what that is.
Is that the ladies?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
Do they play in lingerie?
But I would
or
imagine
no?
that
or
they do.
bikinis and shoulder
they do play in
pads.
lingerie. They're in like.
Yeah.
Yes, you're exactly
it's bikinis
right.
and shoulder pads.
We have a team here.
Yeah.
In Atlanta, what's their nickname? The Atlanta
Steam.
Ooh,
Great question.
Steam Heat.
The Atlanta Steam. I'm reading this off. I don't know this by heart. The Atlanta Steam, the Chicago Bliss, the Nashville Knights, KNIGHTS, Omaha Heart, the Austin Acoustic. We've gone over this, I believe, last offseason. Denver Dream, the Los Angeles Temptation, and the Seattle Mist. But there are 2 expansion teams, TBD.
What cities?
The Arizona Scorch and the Washington Warriorettes, which is more of like a cheerleader name than a... But, so listen, there are 8 current teams in the Legends Football League, and there are 14 defunct teams.
Ouch.
There are almost twice as many former teams as there are current teams in this.
That's kind of the way these things go. It reminds me of the episode of The Simpsons where the guy sells the monorail You just go from town to town. Be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
hey,
From town
you
to town,
need,
like,
this
here's a
ride.
great way. You guys have a 3,000 seat stadium, right?
What's that name?
Guess what we can put in here
Lingerie.
that's going to draw some money? Yeah,
Yeah.
So, what are you thinking?
that's good, sir. I'm on the level.
2 years, will Steve Spurrier still be that coach, or will he have?
I don't think the
moved
league's
on?
going to exist.
You don't even think it'll get off the ground?
No, I don't. I don't think the XFL will last 1 year. The AAF will last 2 years.
All right, that seems fair.
I just want Jay Barker to come back for the Birmingham Bolts. Do we have any team names for the XFL too?
I don't know if they have cities
No,
yet.
we don't have anything.
Yeah.
We don't have cities yet.
Oh man.
I mean, it's 2 years away. Vince thought he had a good long runway to get this thing off the ground, and then his homeboy's kid shows up. Hey, Mr. McMahon, I'm in the football business. God damn it, pal. Shut.
It's amazing how Dick Enberg's son's voice never dropped.
It never changed. Yeah, it hit one place and stayed
68 years old.
I love how the dynamic on this podcast is two people who are like, nope, dumb. And the one guy's like, well, I don't know. Which is about as much. But I think that is a pretty good boilerplate for the entire country.
I think so too.
2-1, this is dumb. And then one person saying, maybe. But nobody being like, no, this is definitely going to work.
Yeah, I think the market's flooded. I don't know if it's gonna take off. But hey, I've been wrong before. The Arena League football team is still going.
If they could capture whoever this lapsed NFL fan is,
Yeah.
this person that represents the small drop in the single digit drop in ratings that the NFL has experienced. If they could capture those people, that's probably enough people to have a successful sports league if you run it. If you run a pretty tight ship. I think the people exist. I just don't know if you can go get them.
You gotta find those mid markets that don't have teams that are actually people are going to go to. Honestly, like Huntsville, Alabama. I mean, how popular are the Channel Cats or whatever the hell the hockey team down here is called now?
The Havoc.
The Huntsville Havoc.
Huntsville Havoc. But see, all those things still exist. Like, those things are still around. So it can be done. It's just a matter of setting the right expectation. And I think you hit the best point of like these new football leagues right now in this current time is there is an additional thing that no other football league has had the advantage of before, and that is to play the politic card. To say that, no, we are the league for you specifically. You right there who doesn't like all this kneeling, we're your league. You right there who thinks these guys are wusses and we should be playing flag football because they don't go out there concussed. This is your league. But you got to go full in on that too. You can't half-ass that thing either. And getting rid of kickoffs is not going to satisfy the grunt and growl concussions crowd.
The Tim Allens in the crowd, if you will.
So yeah, you got to go full bore one way or the other.
Well, moving on, this is, I'm sure, something that will be extremely controversial amongst the Creole contingent of our panel here. Jim McElwain, recently it was reported that as he made his transition from fired Florida head football coach to Michigan quarterbacks coach, I think, he took a $400,000 loss on his house, which immediately gave to a wave of jokes that, it's never too late for McElwain to take another loss in Gainesville. But as it turns out, he took the loss on that to basically sell his house under market to a family with special needs. It had a ramp for some reason, so it was perfect for a 20-year-old.
The ramp was for the cart, so like the sharks could be wheeled in. You need a big hallway to ramp them up in that aquarium so you can sleep with them.
What a weird exit! What a weird exit for any football coach. There was the shark thing that
1 second. Hold that 1 second. Hold that for 1 second, Sean.
Please.
He did it again. Where he tagged the joke with the obvious punchline, and that's what he's so good at. That's why his headlines are so good. It is the last line of that. We all knew where he was going with it, but he tagged it with, so he can sleep with you. He's a fucking genius. And I need people to understand how good he is at this. Please go ahead.
I think Creel's genius often goes underlooked, but I don't know that you could find a weirder exit for a football for a football coach than freaking out over a picture of a naked lookalike hugging a dead shark, making up or saying that his family was threatened, but never having any.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the threats. I totally forgot about
Never
that.
backing it up or saying no, I'm not going to give you any evidence. No, not at all.
I'm not telling you anything.
Like
I also think on that list that number 2 and number 3 are Bobby Petrino. I think Petrino is 2 for writing a letter, or for the motorcycle is 2, and then 3 is writing a letter to the Falcons and just like leaving it in their lockers and dipping in the
like
night,
taping it to the door.
And that what was that basketball coach that got caught? They took the pictures of him at the
I think
parties.
Larry Eustace at Iowa State.
There you go. That's him.
It's just weird, a very weird exit. And then, on his way out, he, if there's any profession in this world that can afford a $400 loss, it's a head football coach, no matter how successful he or she is. But
you just give the house away. Why did you sell it? Just give it
That's
to
a
him.
fair point.
Hey, I got this house with a ramp. Just take it.
somehow McElwain's going to come out the bad guy in this.
Jimmy Mack wants to get his beak a little wet on this.
So now, Creel, do we know if he went? There's no evidence that he
That's
went
the
around
key
telling
question.
anybody about this charitable
Is
giving.
where the story originated from. Whose camp put it out? Was this the real estate agent who just wanted to be associated with it so she can get some sales? Was it the family that was like, hey, you guys should really know this. This guy did it for us. Or was it evil McElwain, like greasing the Gainesville press one more time so he can leave on a high note?
You never know. So would you rather...
Maybe he just got his ass beat in negotiations.
Maybe so. Maybe it really was like a loss. Maybe the house market down there isn't great.
Yeah.
With all those ramps, like who wants a house with all those ramps?
The house has to smell like sharks.
It has to.
And all that shark cum.
Yeah.
Who wants all that shark
God.
cum leading into their house?
Just like wading through ankle deep of shark fluid. So the jury's still out on McElwain.
Yeah, we got to get some more deets to whether or not this was genuine or fabricated.
Would you rather have him really played hardball with this poor family and said, sorry, it's 3.6
Business.
million or it's
Yeah,
nothing,
Yeah, it's business. Mhm.
and not told anybody, or sold it to him for under market and told people?
I would rather the first one.
So the charity does not exist in that.
Yeah,
that one.
no.
Okay. So no one's getting helped.
Right.
Okay, got it.
I don't like this half-ass charity business. I don't think giving somebody a deal is charitable.
Yeah, I'm sure the house was probably like $2 million and they sold it for 1.6.
And you can
that's
probably-
not that big of a deal.
You can probably are those the actual figures?
I don't know. I'm just throwing numbers out there.
And you can write off the $400K on your taxes too.
Yeah, just give the house away, Mac.
You know what?
If
Fuck
this
Jim
is the move
McElwain.
that you're
Yeah,
pulling,
just give it away, man.
and I love Jim McElwain, but no, I don't like this story being posed as charitable. I don't like the introduction of, well, it had a ramp, so he gave
Right.
him the deal.
It could have
That's
had
the deal,
It
dude.
could have been
Give 'em the
condemned. It
house.
could have had asbestos in it. It could be
What if it's
bad
like
electricity.
built on an ancient Indian burial ground?
Exactly.
What if it's inhabited by the ghost of thousands of horny sharks?
Come here. I'm gonna.
One interesting tidbit is at the University of Florida football games, they always play that Jaws theme, like for their defense.
Yeah.
Jaws is a shark.
Man.
You know he's got that thing piping 24/7 in that house.
Oh my God.
That's why it sold for so cheap.
It's the only way you can finish. to have, oddly enough, Jaws 4 playing in the background. Finally, before we get to our Holla back girls, patent pending, Paul Bear Bryant, legendary Maryland, Texas A&M, and Kentucky football coach, Paul Bear Bryant Jr., has a grandson, a great-grandson.
Oh.
And that great-grandson is a 4-star quarterback recruit from 2019. And he gave his verbal commitment to the University of Alabama. Now, I wouldn't think Saban would just sign him because of the name.
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no.
I think. Why am I blanking on Mike Shula would? Mike Shula.
Oh, yeah.
If Mike Shula was the
Like
coach.
a legacy.
Oh, without
sort
a
of
doubt.
thing, yeah.
Well, I would think that many people up until Saban would have.
Yeah.
Without batting an eye, and everyone would have gone along with it. They would have been like, "Oh, this is great."
Yeah, we would have
This is
been
the way it should
fine.
have been
Like,
done.
yeah, because we
Yeah,
were
for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's how they hired coaches for forever.
Well,
You knew the Bears? Sweet. Get in here. We'll give you some money. Lose. Yeah, go 3-8. It's fine.
God. Well, we'll see what the kid does in 2019, assuming his commitment holds.
Yeah. Would you make that move? If you're Bear Bryant's great grandson?
No.
Would you go to
No,
Alabama?
you gotta
I don't
get out of
think
this
I
state,
would.
Yeah, no way.
There are,
Like, there's no upside.
as
to
good
it.
as Alabama is, if I am Paul Tyson, the kid's name.
Oh, he's not even a Bryant. Next story.
It's I'm sure it's his middle name or something like that. If I'm Paul Tyson, there are, as good as Alabama is, there are at least a handful of other schools that I can go to where I'm going to have the same support from the administration, from the athletic department, from teammates, from coaching staff, etc. without the pressure.
Yeah, I think he would.
Yeah,
Any of other
yeah.
Bear Bryant's pit stops would be a better fit. Kentucky, Maryland.
Yeah.
He could go there and probably actually see the field. I don't think he'll ever be in any games other than mop up duty as like fourth quarter against like San Jose State.
It depends on if he redshirts his freshman year would be to his senior
Sure.
year. So it just, depends on what other quarterbacks we have and if he wins position battles or anything like that. What about you, Hankins? Would you actually make that move?
I don't think I would. Like, if what was it, great grandson, right?
Right.
Yeah, this kid didn't know him, so you know what I mean? Like, if it
He was born in 2000.
if I knew if the Bear was I knew him as a kid and he was pawpaw to me, that's a different deal. Then I go suck it up and deal with it. But I'm not dealing with the legend just for the sake of the legend. I don't know this dude. I get it. He was great. He's my family. I'm proud of all that stuff. I'm going to Kentucky. I'm definitely going to Kentucky, where I get a little bit of it. I get a little push from it, but I'm not shrouded in the expectation.
Yeah, you aren't living in the shadow.
I wouldn't even go to the SEC.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah,
would.
That's
Maybe A&M. Maybe I go to A&M.
I mean, I would even go to Iowa State or some shit.
I'd go to A&M and tell everybody I was Gene Stallings' grandson.
And they'd be like, "Get the hell out of here."
But that's just my own personal. I love Gene Stallings. No, seriously, he had a wandering eye.
Well, with that's the news of the college football world. So we will get into our bring 'em backs of our Hoss of Hosses series, our internationally renowned.
Now, can you remind me what the Hoss of Hoss series is all about?
The Hoss of Hoss series, thank you for asking, Creel, is where we are finding the best player from each team in each Power 5 conference.
Sure.
We are pitting those players against each other
Okay.
within their own conference, within the teams that currently make up each Power 5 conference.
Gotcha.
So Miami's going to be in the ACC, Nebraska's going to be in the Big Ten, etc. Since 1992.
Okay.
So unfortunately, we had to pass over some heavy hitters. Bo Jackson, of course. What's his name from Michigan?
Desmond
Thank
Howard.
you, that guy.
Oh, pudding-loving Desmond Howard.
We all chose our top 3 players from each team. Number 1 got 3 points, number 2 got 2 points, number 3 got 1 point. And whoever had the most points from each team, sometimes it was unanimous, like Deshaun Foster from Clemson. Sometimes you were the representative from a team with 4 or 5 points, like Derrick Henry was from Alabama. We have completed our tournaments from all 5 conferences, Ed Reed beat Deshaun Watson in the ACC. Reggie Bush beat Andrew Luck in the Pac-12. Vince Young beat Adrian Peterson in the Big 12. Orlando Pace beat Tommy Frazier in the Big 10. Tim Tebow beat Johnny Manziel in the finals of the SEC. And if you listened last week when we covered the SEC, there was a little bit of controversy from Cam Newton getting a first-round bye and getting knocked out against Johnny Manziel, quite possibly the biggest upset of all time in our series.
So we have 5 people in the final tournament.
We have 5 people in the final tournament, but, you know, how can you choose who gets a first-round bye or what even a 5-round tournament looks like?
I don't want to know what it looks
You
like.
know? So, in direct contradiction of how much we all hate expanding playoffs into 8 teams, we are all going to choose one player. They could be somebody who lost in a previous tournament. Doesn't have to be a finalist. It could be someone who wasn't even picked as the best team from their
Right,
team.
like a Matt Leinart.
Matt
from
Leinart,
USC.
a Vince Wilfork.
Right. Or even like from teams that weren't even represented, like a Hawaii Timmy Chang.
Exactly. Who did you
Chimichanga.
Who did you think? What did you think Timmy Chang's name was last week, Hankins?
Pete Chung.
Oh yeah. Well,
Who I'm pretty sure is a person.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure somewhere in the annals of human history, someone has been named Pete Chung. If there's a Timmy Chang, there's a Pete Chung. Well, we have not talked. So in that interest, we're all gonna pick one person that we want to bring him back.
Pete Chung works at Morgan Stanley.
Okay, that makes total sense. That sounds like a Pete Chung.
Holla back.
Or
Bring him back, holla back.
We're gonna holla back and bring him back. Have you ever seen the movie Bad Influence with Rob Lowe and James Spader?
No, have not. When did it come out?
Like 89, 90. It is fantastic.
Okay.
It's so bad. They're both so skinny. They're like 18 years old. Highly recommend it. The 3 of us have not talked about who we are going to bring back. So there might be some doubles in here.
Ooh, if there are, we'll have to flip a coin and figure out who
Well, if
gets
there's some
another
doubles,
pick.
then yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, Hankins, I think you should start us off.
I know where he's going, though.
Well, I think I should too. Oh, I think I should too.
Do we get, before he picks, do we
after-
get any vetoes or no veto?
Ooh.
No
No
veto.
veto. No veto. No veto.
There are
You're
no
the one who
vetoes.
has to get out of here. That could be a 2-hour... Okay, I tell you what, it can be unanimously vetoed.
2-0?
Yeah.
So the person who picked it has to. Oh, two.
Yeah,
two?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
whatever. I'm fine.
Okay.
Whatever. I'll play your game. So after the first round, I was dead set and sure I knew exactly who I would bring back. I have said many times that Deshaun Foster Watson is one of the best quarterbacks I've seen, especially given my unique stance as an Alabama fan and watching him just destroy our vaunted defense 8 straight quarters. I thought that would be easy. I thought that'd be easy for me. And then something happened last week that I still am baffled by. If we had gotten to the final and Tim Tebow had beaten Cam Newton, I might have been able to say, all right, I get it. They're very two opposite sides of the same coin. Sabada, sabada, sabada. Okay.
Hummus.
But the way that it happened, to have Cam Newton job out in the second round to John Manziel leads me to say I need to make Jarrell my hollaback girl. But I no longer trust the process. I don't trust anything about this show. I don't trust. I know
come
what
on.
Real's going to do 100% of the time. I know that the laptop scandal is all he needs, and apparently Cam Newton was ineligible for like 4 minutes one day.
That's only one
before the
person, though.
Mississippi State game.
You can trust me, baby.
You said on this podcast this hallowed ground that we have, this thing that we do take very seriously and hold very near and dear to our hearts, you said on these airwaves through your microphone, you would be more fearful of playing Johnny fucking Manziel than Cam Newton, which I know to be an out-and-out falsehood.
I mean, not now.
I know
but
it's a
today.
lie. I don't believe you. You act like we never met. So, because of all these things, I have no choice but to be an agent of chaos.
Oh, my God.
And to introduce a destructive force
God.
into this
Oh,
tournament.
my God.
I have no choice
God.
but to bring in a man who averaged 20.3 yards per catch.
That's pretty good.
Who finished 2 seasons, in 2 seasons, 54 touchdowns.
We don't have a
pretty
wide
good.
receiver here.
54 touchdowns. 2 seasons. The college record for most touchdowns by a receiver is 58 by a man who played for seemingly 16 years. Some dude I've never even heard of, but he just racked up a bunch of stats at some school I've never heard of. I am bringing in a man who does not write checks, a man who does not use debit cards, a man who only pays his fine through straight cash, homie, Rand University's own, and the best accent in football, Randy Moss.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Now that is a good wild card.
It's a wild card. That is chaos. That is chaos.
It's chaos, but he is a hoss of chaos.
Chaos.
And it rhymes with Moss. So
Moss
Now
the
that
chaos
works.
hoss.
That really does work.
I have to say, there's a million reasons not to put in Randy Moss.
Right.
Especially over Steve McNair.
what would be that? What would be one of them?
One of them, he played against absolutely no competition in college. Are we still here, Hankins?
I'm waiting. That's the only one you got? Is he played it with no... And his offensive line was so great.
Yeah, well, when
His
you're
offensive
playing
line
against
was
a defensive
spooktacular.
line who literally just learned how to play football, I guess it's also not that hard. Or cornerbacks who are just learning how to run backwards.
Randy Moss would have been at Florida State. He got in a spot of trouble. Would have been at Notre Dame.
why I wouldn't want him on
got
my
in a
team.
spot of trouble.
Too much uncertainty.
Well,
Yeah,
guess what?
This smells a lot like a veto from me.
it sounds a low.
Motherfuckers veto this. Oh, I hope to. Oh my God, you two. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I told you I didn't trust these two bums for anything, and look at what they
I said
do.
it sounds like one.
Look
I
at
didn't
what
say
they
it
do.
is.
This from a person. This from one of you who every week on this podcast, when we talk about bringing backs, mentions Steve McNair.
Mm-hmm.
He brings him up every time. Alcorn State's Steve McNair, who played against the exact same competition as Randy Moss.
That was really just to appease you, and I don't like to speak ill of the dead.
None of those things are accurate.
Well, Hankins, I will end the charade. I will not veto this pick. Veto is off the tables.
Randy Moss, was it second in the Heisman at Marshall? He's a Marshall player we talk about? Come on.
We are Marshall. They made a movie about him, right?
It's true. Is that
Exactly.
because everybody died in the plane crash and he
Yeah,
was
and
a
then,
starter?
and then Marshall Mathers came out and
Oh my god!
rapped a song and brought him back
You know how
from the dead.
that's how good of a rapper he is.
And a top 5 30 for 30 to boot.
Randy Moss? I
Yeah,
don't think I've seen that one.
it's pretty good.
Yeah. Rand University is great.
Well, that is our 6th entry, and to Hankins' suspicion, if he picked Cam Newton, I was just going to put Johnny Manziel as my bring him back.
See? Because you're so fearful of playing him.
With that, there are some players out there. Mm-hmm. And there are,
Are there any players?
oh, they're all players. I am going to... Man, it's tough because Adrian Peterson, Vince Young was such a difficult choice for me. Not for you. Real. Antoine Randall L. racked up a shit ton of yards.
That's a lot of yards.
Drew Brees, the same. Samesies.
Samesies.
Charles Woodson played both sides of the ball. Mm-hmm. Won a Heisman. Mm-hmm. Better than Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I am doing this in the interest of who I think you're going to pick.
Okay.
And now that I've had a week to think of my actions and what I have done, as with a lot of things in life, I understand that Hankins is right, and I'm picking Cam Newton as my bring him back.
Ooh.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
I do have to veto this. I do have to. I'm using my veto now. It's not. It has to be unanimous. That was agreed upon.
It's up to Hankins. It's up to Hankins.
Every fiber of my being wants to veto you just out of spite. But I have stood on the podium and said that I was going to do this with integrity, and I was going to do this based solely on football. I will not veto Cam
We have our
Newton.
7th player now.
And we have our second consecutive week of Matt Hankins defending Cam Newton.
It's on the record.
I hate this show.
With that, apologies to Steve McNair.
R.I.P.
Apologies to Antoine Randall.
MIA?
Apologies to literally everybody on Alabama. By the way, did we talk about the rule you can't pick anybody from Alabama?
We didn't, but sure.
Okay.
I'm not going to pick anybody from
Okay,
Alabama.
good.
I think we settled that score pretty well
Yeah.
last week. That none of us have a definitive.
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't have a definitive way of thinking about it. That's weird, which is exactly the opposite. But we're too close to the situation.
Yeah. Just like Snooki, we're too close to the situation.
I didn't watch that reunion. Did anybody watch that?
Topical.
I never watched the show.
Oh, okay. There was a reunion last week.
I've seen the clip where Snooki gets punched in the face a lot.
They can't show that on TV. You got to YouTube it. It's
Yeah.
like hard to find.
With that, Creel, who is your Holla back girl?
Ooh. All right. I've been thinking about this. My player is from the Big Ten. My player is a quarterback who led what is arguably, actually not even arguably, the best offense in the 90s. He went on to do greater things,
Stranger Things.
stranger things. He goes by the name of Tommy.
Does he spell it traditionally?
Tommy Elvis Gerbach.
He is a man's man. He is definitely a hoss. So go ahead and type it in the bracket, Sean. Tommy Brady.
Are you kidding me?
I am kidding.
Thank God.
It's Tommy Frazier.
Thank God.
Tommy Frazier.
Thank God.
Vetoing my own pick. It's Tommy Frazier, who in 1995 led an offense that scored 53 points a game, averaged 399 yards rushing per game. A hoss of hosses. Now, unfortunately, he had Crohn's disease and didn't get to have any success in the NFL.
He couldn't eat taquitos for breakfast.
But I consider him and that team the best of the last 25 years. And the whole point of this tournament is to give us the best player of the last 25 years. I think the best player on the best team is the Hoss of Hosses. So that's my bring 'em back, holla back.
Well, with that, we have our 8 players for next week. And Creel, you said that your quoted out time is 27 minutes from now.
Yeah.
If you guys are okay with it, I would like to plug all these names into a random name picker.
Sure. Let's see what happens. Yeah. Sean is typing away.
The digital version of picking names out of a hat. Because with these 8 players, with the exception of Randy Moss, I don't know that you could say who's better than them.
Nah.
So,
Gosh, I really hope we get that Tim Tebow, or the Cam Newton, Johnny Manziel rematch in a steel cage.
no, Manziel's not here.
Oh, that's right.
I picked Cam Newton.
Oh, that's right.
Because I was wrong and Hankins was right.
Dang.
Now, okay, so this will be the 8th, number 8. This is be the 8th seed.
The 8th seed.
Okay.
What does the random generator give us as the 8th
Pick
seed?
a random name. Number 8 seed is...
What happened?
I guess the internet's a little slow. Randy Moss.
Well, it doesn't matter. The numbers don't even matter.
Well,
really.
oh yeah, true.
The numbers don't even matter.
The 7th seed is Cam Newton.
Motherfucker.
That's where I'd put him. I know where I put him. He wouldn't even be in it. But
6th seed, Reggie Bush.
ooh, okay, all right.
Did Creel just write these down and hand them to you?
Creel's the hat. I'm picking names at Adam.
This is Matt Creel's scale of least deplorable.
Number
Number
5. The first player chosen in our series, Ed Reed.
Ed Reed, okay.
And again, these seeds mean nothing.
So 5. Whoever you pick next will be Ed Reed's opponent, though. It's
true.
This one's important.
Will be the sacrifice to Ed Reed in the first round.
Number 4 is Tommy Frazier.
Ooh, all right.
Oh.
Number 3, to battle Reggie Bush. We might have to move these around. Tommy Frazier.
Oh, no. We did it.
Yeah, you did
We
it.
stated
It's in
it.
stone.
This is how
It's
it
in
goes.
blood.
Number 3, to battle Reggie Bush, is Orlando Pace. The individual
I like that.
the individual who was picked over Tommy Frazier in the Big Ten.
So we're up to number 2. 2 plays 7. Who was 7?
Number 7 was Cam Newton.
Okay, and his opponent is...
His opponent,
I know what it's going to be.
is Vince Young.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That means number 1 plays number 8.
number-
And who's number 8?
Number 8 is Randy Moss. And the only person left, I don't even have to click it, is Tim Tebow.
Wow, all right.
So we have our brackets.
Oh, my God. We got a hell of a tournament next week, boys.
We really do. We truly do.
In the first ever 6-hour-long episode.
We're going to crunch some...
you know what we should do?
Please.
Production meeting live on air. We should not do it until we're all together.
Yeah, we can
At the
put it in
thing.
it in the tank.
Well, that sounds good because we can either record next week or we've got one in the tank.
We've got one in the can. We should just wait to that's our big extravaganza escapade. I think that this fits very well into draft talk,
Sure.
and I think that
Yeah,
that's how
that
this
sounds
should go
great.
down. We've made ourselves a very good tournament.
I'm proud of us.
Yeah, we finished.
I am too. We stayed on message, we stayed on task, and we did a thing. And you know what? 78% of it was on the level.
I know, Randy Moss really shouldn't be here.
You're gonna keep fucking with me, Sean. One of these
I
days.
fully support being in person for when we do this because it's really hard to really tell when you're actually mad.
You'll know. Oh, you'll know.
Well, this has been episode 65, we believe, of Throw the Flag. Thanks for listening, folks. Do all the stuff, please, that we usually say, and rate and subscribe to us. Rate and review us on iTunes. That's always a big help. And we'll see you next week. Goodbye.